What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's a moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 673, How Amanda Lost 100 Pounds and is now helping create lean bodies.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine. My guest today, another Amanda. Amanda Ankenbauer, how are you?
I am great.
So I'm excited to have this conversation because we're two Amandas that have both lost over 100 pounds. And we both have weight loss journeys, and you own your own gym and you're a personal trainer, and you know you've taken that lifestyle change and now changing lives of other people. And I can't wait to learn everything from start to finish. So first off, what's the space that you own currently? What's your gym?
It's called Lean Bodies Gym. It's in Covington. It's nestled away at 812 Russell Street. It's about a half a mile from Braxton Brewery. Okay. And there's a lot of upcoming development in that area. It's just such a cool area, chock full of culture and little dive restaurants. And you can walk mostly everywhere. There's sidewalks. I just love that feel.
Yeah. And so for anybody that's not in the Cincinnati area, that is in Kentucky, since Cincinnati is I don't know. I just saw a TikTok today where they're like, Cincinnati is pretty much Kentucky. And I'm like, I don't know if you can say that Cincinnati is Kentucky, or could you say Kentucky is Cincinnati? And they were making the argument that somebody said that Cleveland is like pretty much Canada. And I'm like, what? That's a stretch for me. But the Kentucky Cincinnati thing, I get. So before, we're going to lead up to where you are now, owning your gym, but where did you begin? What was, your journey from, or just where you wanted to lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle?
I was overweight as a child. The doctors diagnosed me with exercise-induced asthma. And so I shied away from exercise as a kid. When I would play sports, it was uncomfortable for me. And I guess I kind of slumped into a comfort zone with that. And I just really enjoyed the way that food tasted.
Yeah, right.
And I'm a petite person. So, my needs were not always in balance with what I enjoyed. So there was some overindulgence. And I was hospitalized a few times as a kid, put on steroids for my asthma, for pneumonia, and it caused me to gain more weight than my body could handle. And I found myself, I stopped getting on the scale. It became hard for me to, I guess, face myself, but I was at my heaviest, a little over 100 pounds than I am now. And I made a shift in high school, and it really was the experience of moving to a new state and having to create a new life at 15 years old, and not having connections with people and not liking myself. And that translated into not being able to make relationships with people because you have to like yourself first. Yeah. And I wanted to like myself. And I knew that the biggest thing for me was that I kept telling myself that I wanted to be more healthy. I wanted to be more fit. And finally, I aligned that voice with intention, and it started with a step stool, like a toddler step stool in my garage. I would do steps minutes at a time. I wasn't really sure what I was doing in the beginning, but I knew I needed to move my body and I knew I needed to eat real food. And that's what I started with. So I made a roadmap myself. Magazines, this was over 15 years ago. So magazines were a big source of information for me. I bought fitness and health magazines, Shape magazine, Self magazine, and just I would pull articles out, and I made a giant binder, which I actually took to my first personal training job.
Nice.
Just full of information that I'd gathered. I self-taught myself. I made a graph with 40 squares, and I gave myself a sticker for every pound that I lost.
Oh, nice.
And so I was doing that at 16, and then I fell in love with running. And what I fell in love with was the challenge. I started to train my mind to find challenge to be enjoyable, because I knew that it was challenging. And that's something that you'll find at the gym currently, is that motto of turning a challenge into pleasure, and really retraining your mindset so that the journey is, because it's a long one when you have a lot of weight to lose. And I work with a lot of clients that have a lot of weight to lose, and there has to be pleasure along the way. There has to be alignment with liking yourself first, or it's not going to work out. And so I went on this giant journey of seeking happiness because I was unhappy, but it turned out that the happiness had nothing to do with the weight. And so that was really an interesting discovery along the way.
What do you think that it had to do with?
I think that, a lot of it was at the time, that was monumental for me to move to a new state and have to make a new life. Mm-hmm. And it was putting myself out there. And I was scared to do that. I was scared of the failure aspect of, they're not going to like me, or the rejection aspect. And so because I wasn't allowing myself to live fully, I think subconsciously that was making me unhappy with myself.
Yeah. So did the weight loss at least make you feel a little bit more better? Like you said that it wasn't the answer, but did at least give you more of an opportunity to feel more comfortable in kind of putting yourself out there?
It did. So then something really interesting happened around age 20. So I lost a lot of the weight that I was to lose by 18. And then I became a certified personal trainer, worked at gyms, met a lot of people that I had not spent, I may have spent time with them, but I had the perspective at the time a little bit centered around vanity. Okay. And it was because of the response that I was getting from people. You look great. And it was just body reinforcing compliments. And so that made me, I guess, a little bit obsessed with fitness. And I took it to a place for a while where I wouldn't allow myself to be anything other than 120 pounds. It was to the point that I ate 1,200 calories a day. I would over-exercise, overtrain just to look a certain way. And I did a lot of photo shoots that I'd get social media responses for. And healing from that is the best thing that's ever happened in my life. So hitting that other opposite end perspective of fitness, it's definitely given me a well-rounded perspective of being completely unhealthy and then also still being completely unhealthy, 100-pound difference.
Yeah.
So they were both unhealthy, and I feel that I had to see both ends, very extreme, to find balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild how many people have that experience. And I do too, to a degree, of then you just become an over-exerciser. I mean, a couple years ago, I was doing like 2-a-days and working out 7 days a week. And I mean, I loved it, but it was also one of those things of like, if I miss a workout, am I going to gain my weight back? And how you kind of go into, again, like, so much of my life was spent like, I don't want to exercise. I'm going nowhere near a gym, to pendulum swing to the other end. And I never would have imagined myself as an over-exerciser and over-stressing my body from exercise. So yeah, I'm with you. I totally understand where that is. And from that though, like being on that other end of the spectrum, like how did you know, what was the point where you're like, I got to pull the reins back a little bit. This is unhealthy in a different way. Like, was there a turning moment, or was it just kind of, I need to slow down?
The most incredible thing happened opening the gym. I opened the gym, and I'll be completely honest, I still, to some degree, had that mindset. And it was through the people that I work with now that I understood more wholly about loving yourself. And I healed through the gym. I've healed through the people that I've trained. And because to be a good coach, you have to really understand somebody. You have to build them up. And so I reached a new level of empathy in working with people. And I do my best now to see them for all that they are as a person, whether they lost an ounce or don't lose an ounce, and try to help them love themselves. And in helping people to love themselves, I realized, you might need to take some of your own advice and really love yourself. So I allowed myself to gain back about 10 pounds. And to this day, I still look in the mirror and I say, not as often, but are you okay with that? Is that okay? And I say, yes, you are strong, you are healthy, and you are strong enough to conquer that voice.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it crazy how, I don't think this is uncommon at all, how hard it is for all of us to love ourselves. I mean, I am my own worst bully. Like, I am so mean to myself so often. And like, again, it's like catching yourself in it of like, God, I wouldn't speak this way to anyone else. Like, why am I saying this to me? It's so mean. But it's like, what is that? Like, that so many of us are just like, that you like, and you can say that. And I feel like, we're having this conversation and somebody could be listening to it and be like, yes, I understand. I need to love myself more. And you can say it and understand it, but to actually like live it and feel it is so freaking hard.
Oh, so we have 2 programs at the gym that we run. One is a very beginner program, and one is it's still very beginner, but it is structured to having a schedule of working out 3 times a week. But both of these programs at the gym, the first one, Kickstart, I created and it's not a template. It's a program for weight loss, 6 weeks. But it's not a template. Here are the workouts you need to do. This is the way that you need to eat. It's mindset shifting. And it's all about getting rid of the asphyxiation, because people sign up for the program to lose weight.
Yeah.
And, they buy the bait that all the gyms are selling. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to look this way? Or, do you want to get fit? And from there, day one, we start with, you're empowered because you're here, and we go from there.
Yeah.
And we start to build upon that. Breaking old habits like scale monitoring as a progress measurement. And we start to look at strength as measurement, strength of the mind. Did you get stronger in your workout? Do you feel stronger? Do you allow yourself rest days? And do you feel okay with that? And how are you talking to yourself?
Yeah.
So
those are all super important. And I think that too, and kind of touched on this point here a little bit, that something that we don't celebrate often enough, or even at all for some people, of just the strength it takes to like step foot into a gym. Like, that is a choice people are making of like, I'm doing this for me. I'm bettering myself. I'm going to do hard things. I mean, depending on everybody's, has a different mindset towards exercise, but just knowing how hard that is for some people to be like, I don't know anybody here. This is a gym. I'm intimidated, but I'm going to show up. And I walked through the door and here we go. You know what I mean? Of like just how strong that is. And I don't think people give themselves enough credit of like, that's already a huge win. You don't have to come in and you don't, have to like bench 300 pounds to be a success. Like the
or
success
even just
is
having the thought is strength. And we really pride ourselves at Lean Bodies. You'll see so many different types of people, but it's not about that. We're not typifying or stereotyping people, but there are people that look fit, people that look overweight, and it all just is a look. And we really pride that we have so many beginners. We say that everybody is a beginner at the gym, and it's just like in life, we're always students learning, and
yeah. Well, I wanted to touch on this too, because not only do we have like weight loss journeys in common, but we've also have career changes in common of like, hey, I'm gonna fully jump in and make health and fitness my job. Like for you, owning a gym, and you open this gym was it just a couple months before COVID?
It was right in the midst of the pandemic, actually.
Oh, okay.
I resigned from I was a high school teacher, teaching Spanish and nutrition, and I resigned in February, and then March is when the pandemic really spiked, and so I was running this program I speak of, Kickstart, subleasing in another gym. It was successful for a couple of years. I worked with groups of about 15, pretty cyclically every 6 weeks, running this program. And then I created a meal plan, Fuel, which you can do remotely anywhere around the world. It's cool to work with people out of state. And it's basically a plant-based meal plan, pardon me. And it just allows you to eat more whole foods and heal your relationship with food. So we really try to uncover why we abuse food in the first place for the variety of reasons that we do. So I was running this Fuel meal plan with Kickstart out of another gym, and I said, I feel happiest doing this. I feel it's very impactful. So I did that for a couple of years and juggled both jobs. And the second, fitness, seemed to be pretty sustainable. And so I was either going to buy the gym that I was at, or I was looking at spaces. And I found this incredible warehouse in Covington. And it was at the time a gym that I'd worked out at before. And I just really looked up to the owner of that gym. And I worked out at that gym, and I always thought it was super badass. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to take that badass feeling, and I wanted to bring that beginner vibe there. So because what I love to do is I love to bring out the CrossFitter, bring out whatever it is that you identify with, the runner in a beginner. I want to help them find that passion. Like, I love to run marathons and do extreme type sport. And I never knew that about myself, but I found it. And then that's my thing that I keep coming back to maintain my fitness. And it makes it fun. I mean, you need to have fun, but it has to be authentic to you. And so I love working with beginners and them saying, oh, I'll never be able to do a box jump. And then they do their first box jump and they're like, that's the most badass thing I've ever done. I only ever want to tire flip from now on. I just took a beginner through a whole year, and she did 103 tire flips in 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Right?
It's intense.
A 200-pound tire too.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
it's the coolest thing. And I just love when people are so proud. And if you're thinking about, wherever you are listening, if you're thinking about walking into a gym and you are intimidated, just know that everybody's a beginner at something. I've been a personal trainer for 15 years, and I put myself in situations intentionally now to begin at something new. Right now I'm trying to master the rogue rings, the gymnastic rings, because it's intimidating and it's hard, and I want to feel what it feels like to be intimidated so that I can speak to people, honestly, and understand.
You've done a lot of CrossFit too, right?
Yeah. I just did the open, and that was a really cool experience. That was tough.
Yeah, CrossFit's freaking hard. Oh my God!
Only got one injury. Only tore my rotator cuff. So
only.
Yeah. right on the third week of the open.
Yeah, but I think that's awesome because, I mean, again, it's like all about being strong, like feeling badass, and that's what I really fell in love with. Strength training is just like, man, I mean, I lost most of my weight walking and then running and hiking, which I love all of those. But it was just like, once I started lifting some heavy weights and throwing them around, I'm like, okay, now I feel like a badass. And it's just kind of like, that's one of those things I think so many women are afraid of getting bulky. I really hate that that's still thrown around so much, where I thought that we were kind of past that. But it's like, you're afraid that you're going to look like, your neck is going to be like gigantic, and you're going to just be this like beast of a person. You're going to look like Arnold. And it's like, no, like,
and that's where the name of our gym, I thought about when I was doing a rebranding. I started with Lotus Yoga and personal training. I try to infuse yogic perspective into personal training. So started with that, rebranded to Lean Bodies. And the lean came from heavy lifting makes you lean. It doesn't make you bulky. So to further that point, it's quite the opposite, actually. So, but we're fed a lot of information, and sifting through that information in the fitness industry is as a consumer it's overwhelming, it's challenging. And so I try to infuse all the many modalities of fitness into one gym, and in all the different ways. The Fuel Meal Plan incorporates aspects of Beachbody, aspects of Whole30, aspects of Weight Watchers. So there's a point system, just to simplify all the information and show you that there's no one right way to do things. There's only the way that's sustainable for you. Whatever you can do over time consistently that you can be sustainable with and you can be accountable to, that's the way to do it. And for me, it's group activities like CrossFit and running marathons. Now, I'm not saying that we are a CrossFit affiliate gym or that we practice CrossFit at our gym. We do not. But in my spare time, I find those things to be fun and enjoyable, and that's what's sustainable. And so I just want to help people figure out what that is for them so that they can live their life to the fullest and just be happy, because, gosh, we all just deserve to be happy. I mean, I spent so many years being unhappy with myself, beating myself up with workouts, and before that being overweight. And I truly can say that now I feel happy, and it's daily mantras, and it's, one foot in front of the other. There's so many setbacks, but I want everybody to feel that, to find that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of strength, I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but it's like, to me, I mean, the strength is, one, choosing to go all in, walk away from a job and be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to help other people. And then gyms close. It's just I mean, I can't even imagine what the past year has looked like for you. But I mean, I imagine that you have probably gained so much mental strength since March of last year of just going through. I feel like so many people have gone through the ringer, but to make that life change and to open a gym for it immediately to be shut down. I mean, have you learned any life lessons over the past year, or how you've gained strength from that?
Yeah. So my husband and I, we have one son, Derek. He's 8 years old, and we were to expand our family. We were really excited to expand our family in 2015, but that was not what the universe had planned for us, and we lost our daughter at 6 months into our pregnancy, and that her name was Alyssa. And that for me, I thought I couldn't recover from that, but I did, and I gained mental strength. And I always used that as a benchmark going into opening the gym. And I thought about this endeavor, as a homage, as a way to remember Alyssa. And so I make jokes about things just to lighten the mood when I talk about this portion of my life, because it's heavy for some people to hear. And so I make jokes to people that the gym is Alyssa, and that's why it's purple and the weights are pink. Even the guys lift the colored weights. So going into opening the gym, I thought I was strong. Right. But no, every month there was something new to face. And a few things that I have learned here recently in regards to the gym are letting go of everything, of our expectation. I guess it's, I've always practiced Buddhism, but not as deeply as until now. And it's living a life, realizing that, nothing is permanent and everything is transient. And I wake up each day with the gym, and I say to myself, if today's the last day that you own, air quote, this gym, I don't own it. It has created itself. It's its own thing. But that you are in charge of this gym, live this day to the fullest and enjoy it. And enjoy all the challenges that come up, the financial challenges, the retention challenges. At one point we had 22 positive cases, but in our community in November, that was hard. I felt responsible for that, and maybe to some degree I was, but I had to learn from it. I couldn't allow that to define me, and I had to forgive myself that I was learning and growing as a business owner. And so all of these things translate to anybody going through anything. What I've done is not allow myself to be a victim in this. Everybody is experiencing this pandemic in the way that they are. I am not victimized, because the victimization is what held me back. And I realized that I needed to be a leader, and that I was a leader, and that people needed someone to be strong. And I would tell myself each day, can you be this strong? I mean, this is as strong as you can be is what I'd say to myself, very entitled at some points during this. I'd say, this is as strong as you can be. If you have to be stronger than this, there's just nowhere to go. I mean, this is the most that you can give. You can't take anymore. But I would shed that layer and I would rise. And it's not that I saw myself as strong, but I saw myself as, practicing the advice that I would give to any client. And that's show up, do the work, even the hard work, be strong.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be so impactful for all the clients that do come to your gym. At least it would be for me to just know that, this is a passion project and it hasn't been easy, and just to be like, thank you for giving me this space.
The doors are only open because of them. I owe everything to the community. They have supported me, donated money. I've had a client just give me money. For nothing. Actually, a handful have just given us money to stay open. And so it's been the most humbling experience. And here's what I've learned. I've learned the definition of love. And if I walk out of all of this with the debt that I have from investing all that I have into it, I have learned to love my family better, and I've learned to love people better because there has been a lot of pain that I could hold on to, but I've chosen to love instead. And it's been the most bountiful thing. And right now I invite anybody to do this with us. We're always trying to grow and level up and be the best that we can be. And so I've decided to focus on a challenge that's outside of the challenges that we're facing. So instead of focus on the challenges that we're facing itself, let's focus on how we can just be better and how we can show up better. And so right now we're doing a little a habit challenge, a habit reset challenge, and we're trying not to give body compliments. I would really like to see the culture change around body image. I think that it is embedded in all of us in different ways, and I think that body compliments need to go out the door, even and especially when somebody looks happy. I want to stop telling people that they look happy, because we need to stop reinforcing being at a high, because we're not. And that's something that I've learned through all of this as a business owner, is that there are more lows than there are highs in life. And, people used to always tell me how pretty I am. And I know that when you're not feeling happy, you might not look the most attractive. And what if you're always just getting compliments when you look your best, or when you look happy? How is that fostering mental health? And so you can do this at the gym with us. I'm going to do a Gary V and say, text me 859-308-8082. I'd love to chat with anybody about this. If you feel that this is something that you have gone through, if you feel that your body image has been shaped in any way and has affected your mental health, and you feel like you have some sort of a complex that has resulted out of this, and asphyxiation with your hips, your breasts, or whatever it may be.
Or, I just saw somebody mention this on Instagram today, and I have gotten this before, of like, oh, you have such a pretty face. Of like, so what's the rest of my body look like? You know what I mean? Of like, so where somebody doesn't mean anything bad, but yeah, that's just kind of like, how much
and
that
at
like
the gym, so I'm spreading this at the gym to everybody that I talk to, and I just started this a few days ago, but it's really something that I want us to change the culture of, reinforcing when someone loses weight or anything like that, and not even saying you look strong, but really taking the time to notice people's energy instead, and to just give positive energy and try to stop the complimenting altogether, to reinforce our attachment, with that, so that we can have a healthier mindset and recognize that there's highs and there's lows. We're going to go through them all, and that we're here for each other. And it's not dependent, it's not conditional, it's unconditional.
So, because I kind of want to get your thoughts on this, because I agree with you, but I will say, like, I have one tattoo, and the tattoo I have is a compliment that I got, and which is, "You are a force." And that meant so much to me in a way that I'm like, it's not like, oh, you look skinny, or, oh, you look pretty. It's like, no, you are a force to be reckoned with. And that just means I am just a presence in this world to me. And to me, I was just kind of like, I have such a hard time accepting compliments. I'm just not very good at it. And I've made it my New Year's resolution before to give just more compliments to just, in whatever capacity. I really usually don't do body compliments, but I don't know, to me, when that was said to me, it was just kind of like, I believed it. And I'm like, you're right. I am a force to be reckoned with. Like, I show up for myself. I show up for people around me, and I feel like strong and a presence. And to me, that's a kind of compliment that obviously meant so much to me, and the way I kind of like want to think of my life, that I had it permanently put on my body. But that was, again, like where I think to the opposite end of that, where those other kind of compliments that you don't take in that way also still live in you. Like, this one lives in me in a really great way, but there's a lot of other things that live in me in a very negative way that spin in my head and tear me down instead of lift me up. So I think it's,
because they become benchmarks.
Yeah.
Like men would always tell me, you look this way or that way in regards to my body. And then I felt like, oh, am I only lovable because of how I look, or, how do I define, myself in regards to affection from the opposite sex? And so I think it's deep in our culture. And then, so it can be, our experiences with those can be all over the board, but they're internalized. And then you hear those voices in your mind, and then you start, if you're anything other than those things, then you feel down on yourself. And so that's the mental health part. But I love this tattoo of yours. That's exactly what I'm saying about energy. It's I think those compliments, when I said, let's do away with compliments, taking it a step further, like you just did with reinforcing energy compliments, those can have such great impacts on people's lives, and you never know when you do it. And if we can train our minds, which is what we're trying to do with this challenge, if we can train our minds to do that, which you can train your mind to do anything, so just be consistent with it and it'll change. But if we can change our minds to give those types of compliments that impact people's lives, imagine the impact that we can have on the world and just raise the vibration.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, I think that's amazing that you're doing that at the gym. So what other things do you have to offer at the gym if somebody's listening and they're like, okay, this place seems like badass. Like, what else can they do? They're like, what kind of classes do you offer, et cetera?
Yeah, we do. We have several different trainers that run group workouts, and there's so much value from working out with the trainers at our gym. They have a story, each of them themselves, and I won't go through each one, but it's either a transformation, mostly with their life, that is inspiring, and they just, sprinkle little nuggets into their group workouts. So there's a lot of value with the group workouts in just the sense of who the trainers are. But we offer evening classes at 6 and 7 every night in the afternoon, and then we have some early morning boot camps as well. And our workouts are 45 to 60 minutes. They're always with a group, and the format changes. We have boxing, strength training, and like I mentioned before, we infuse the different modalities of fitness. So pretty much every type of fitness group workout that you can think of, using kettlebells to Pilates movements to CrossFit movements. We sprinkle those in. So we have tires at the gym, boxes. We have less intimidating things, but everything we make beginner friendly in every workout. So in every workout, there's going to be somebody that this is their second workout, their first workout, or this is their 750th for the year in the same workout. And our trainers are really good about leveling things to make it accessible. So, we might have, box jumps in a workout, but then we also have steps. We also have knee raises. So everything is modifiable, and we do it circuit style. And so we have a big timer on the wall that we try to have fun with. And something unique that we've been doing here recently is live DJ workouts on Saturdays at 9 a.m. with DJ JK, the resident DJ from Braxton. So that's been really cool to have that energy in the background. Our next one is this Saturday at noon with DJ Naughty Groove of Cincinnati. And if I didn't mention, that's at noon. It's at noon. Yeah. So he's going to play house music, and I personally love the vibration of house music. It's very upbeat and not a lot of words, just feeling the energy. And so we're going to do that while we work out. And so if anybody's interested in checking out the gym, the best thing that I can say to do is to come in and to see for yourself.
So should they go to the website, send you an email?
Yeah, our website is leanbodiescov.com. And right on the homepage, we have a few different offers for 7-day pass for free. You can come check the gym out. You can send me an email at leanbodiescov@gmail.com, and I'll get right back to you. Again, you can text me at 859-308-8082 if you just want to chat wherever you are in the world. And I love to chat with people. And just hear about, your perspective, or if you just want to ask me a question about the gym, then that's the best way to get a hold of me, straight to my phone.
Awesome. Well, I love your story and everything you've been through, and thank you so much for sharing it, and thank you for what you're doing, because I mean that's some really cool stuff that I think that, just talking about mindset shifts and the compliments and all that stuff. I don't know a lot of other gyms that offer those sorts of things or have those kinds of conversations. If you go into, no offense, to a Planet Fitness, you know what I mean? You're not going to get that kind of conversation or attention. So I just think that that's amazing. And so I'll put all the notes in, or all the information in the notes, and hopefully people come check you out.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
AmandaValentineBites.com